Good afternoon, folks. Thank you for being here. I am Pepper. This is Godly Trading, and this is our daily live stream. And today we're going to revisit the topic we had a couple of weeks ago about can you trade biblically, and does the Bible make you a better trader? Specifically, today we're going to be talking about does your biblical faith, does your faith in Jesus translate into making you a better trader? And if so, how? And sure, we have the idea that how you do anything is how you do everything. But I want to talk about a specific circumstance. This came about. I was reading a passage this morning from Joshua in my daily devotion about the trip around Jericho and what all that entailed. And for those of you who may not be familiar, just let me give you a painted picture. So children of Israel have been wandering in the desert for 40 years. The older generation had died off. There's only two left. Joshua was in charge. Moses is gone. They're getting ready to start the conquest of the land of Canaan. They come up to the first place, which is Jericho, a big, giant walled city. The walls were incredibly thick. God had a plan for how they were going to take Jericho. Now, that plan was they were going to put some men in the front of the ark, some behind the ark, and they were going to walk around Jericho one time every day for 6 days, blowing a trumpet. Not the trumpet they had, the special trumpet from the tabernacle, the brass trumpet, but the ram's horn. Walk around it once a day, every day for 6 days. And then on the seventh day, walk around it 7 times. And they're not saying a word. So I always love when I think about these Bible stories, how would I have reacted? And I try to be honest about it. So if it's me and I am in the army and thinking, all right, we're going to go take this city. It's going to be tough because they've shut themselves up inside the walls. The walls are pretty tall. How are we going to do this? And all right, everybody put your armor on, get your weapons ready. All right, we're ready to go. We get up, we walk around the city, and then we're done. And so just so you understand, Jericho is about 10 acres. You could walk around 10 acres. I mean, with good hiking shoes, you could walk around 10 acres in half an hour, or possibly less, depending on your level of fitness. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you're in a line, and you're wearing sandals, and it's rocky. Maybe it takes you a couple of hours. But then you go and you sit back down. And if you're me, one of these type A personalities, the junior God executive, as my mentor used to say, you go and you sit back down at your tent, on your cot or whatever, and you're like, what good did that do? I want to be doing something. I don't want to just be sitting here. I don't want to just. But God had told them, this is what you're supposed to do. Just do what I ask you to do. Just have faith that I know what I'm doing. By the way, think about what they experienced through 6 days of walking around the city of Jericho silently, just hand on their sword, not doing anything. They got to inspect just how impregnable that city must have looked. I mean, those walls are pretty tall. They're thick. You're walking around it every day. You're probably, if you're like me, you're thinking, all right, what would I do? How would I crack this nut if I was in charge? If I was Joshua, here's what I think Joshua should be doing. So you're constantly planning in your head what you would do if you were in charge. And then you're also got this constant stream of doubt. This isn't going to work. How are we going to do this? Well, why are we doing this? And your faith is going to be tested every single day. I know. God did this thing, right? And yesterday, we still had manna this morning, right? We had manna up until the time when they ate their first meal. But your faith is being tested day after day of walking around Jericho doing nothing. And your endurance, it's like, oh, really? I've got to get up today. It's day 5, right? Or it's day 6. It's day 6. Okay. What are we going to do today? Anybody Pinky in the Brain reference out there? What are we going to do today? The same thing we do every day. Walk around Jericho for no good reason. But then they obey. Now, I'm sure there was some grumbling. They were supposed to be silent, so I guess it was silent grumbling. But they finally were obedient. They walk around 7 times. The walls fall flat. By the way, hey, only person survived was Rahab and her family. Go Google Rahab and Mary and Bible, those 3 words. And see the next time we see Rahab, and she put her faith in God and the people that she helped. But that's a rabbit I'm not going to chase today. But just go Google those 3 words: Bible, Mary, Rahab, and see what comes up. It's very interesting the next time we see Rahab. Anyway, so finally they get their reward, and you have to wonder. People like me, right? Let's say that I'm in that army, and I've been complaining to everyone in camp for 6 days. Joshua has no idea what he's doing. Joshua should listen to me. If we want to take the city, we need to do it my way, because this whole walking around and going and taking a nap for the rest of the day, not going to do anything. And if it's me and you walk around that seventh time and everyone shouts, and I'm probably, all right, guys, today we're going to walk around 7 times today. And when we're done, I'm going to, Joshua, I'm going to holler at you and you're going to all shout. So me, Pepper back there, so okay, fine. So everybody's screaming. I'm like, yay, ooh. And all of a sudden, the walls of Jericho just go, it says they fall down flat, just absolutely collapse. I can only imagine that I'll be like, well, all right, I guess God knew what he was doing the whole time. Now, what is this? And I know you're thinking, Pepper, it's a nice Bible story. What does that have to do with trading? Remember how I said that people like me are just chomping at the bit to be doing something instead of just walking around the city day after day, not doing anything? Let's take this. And for those of you who don't think that anything in the Bible can make you a better trader, here's a prime example. Let's say that you have a trade plan. You have a plan of action that someone gave you or that you yourself developed. And that plan says, in order for a trade to be a trade that you will take, this, and this have to have happened. Or you got to have all these checklists, whatever it is, steps, a checklist, a series of events that signal to you, hey, this is the trade we're going to take. Like a baseball player watching that ball come in. If that ball's doing this or the ball's doing that, he's not swinging. He's waiting for that ball to do a certain thing before he swings at it. And you as a trader are waiting for that price action to do a certain thing before you take a stab at it. But let's say that for whatever reason, a day goes by, 2 days go by. Let's say you're a swing trader and a week goes by, or you're a day trader and hours go by. And the longer you sit there following your plan without anything happening, the more you're like, you just want something to happen. I just want to be trading. I want to. And because here's the thing. We think that this and this is what makes up trading. The clickety. Me, 6,000 years ago, would have thought that the swinging of the sword and the is what makes up conquering Jericho. But what really makes up conquering Jericho and what really makes up trading is following your plan and having faith in the one that gave you your plan. Now, maybe your friend gave you this plan and you can believe in them. Maybe you developed this plan yourself. Maybe you bought this plan. Whatever it is, somehow or another, you have gotten to the point where you have a trade plan and you have faith in it. If you haven't gotten to that point, please reach out to us. We can help you in that. Matter of fact, we've got an entire Streamapalooza. Yes, we're doing it again. I say we. I'm doing that again. New Year's Day, Streamapalooza, like 7 streams that day. One of them will be how to develop a trade plan. But anyway, you got this plan and you're supposed to have faith in it. But every moment as a day trader, every moment that you're watching a trade setup, you're like, oh, there's that trade. Oh, no, it's not quite right. Oh, here's that trade. Oh, it's not quite right. Every time that happens, your patience in your faith, if those are two things, your endurance, your ability to maintain your faith without going clickety, gets tested more and more and more. Just like that guy walking around Jericho for 6 days in a row. I mean, the first day, he's like, okay, well, that was interesting. Second day, all right. 5th day, and then 6 days, like, really, guys, we're doing this again. Do you need me? Because look, 10 acres is not big enough for the entire Israeli army. Look, I'm just going to sit back here. Every trade setup that is almost right. By the way, my mother-in-law gave me a great devotional book yesterday, Christmas, about Charles Spurgeon. Charles Spurgeon has the most amazing quote for anybody out there, Christian or non-Christian. Discernment is not knowing the difference between right and wrong. Discernment is knowing the difference between right and almost right. And you need discernment in your trading. That trade setup that happens, you've been sitting there for 3 hours and you're a day trader and you haven't done anything. And that trade setup that happens and it's almost right. It's discernment that's going to have you sitting on the sidelines and not doing anything. So the same faith that kept those poor type A personalities like me chomping at the bit, walking around Jericho, doing it, grudging faith. The faith that says, oh, this sucks. Okay, God, I believe you, but can I just say out loud that it sucks? That same faith is what keeps you as a trader watching trade after trade pass you by because they didn't fit your plan. You have got to be faithful. You got to have endurance to. It's one thing to endure a drawdown because at least you're being active, right? At least you're making progress. You're clicking buttons. At least you're doing stuff. Now, you might be doing the wrong things and might be going the wrong direction, but at least you're active. But just sitting there, staring at a screen, looking like me, I'm a swing trader, right? So I open my platform once a day for about 10 minutes, open it up, click through 28 Forex pairs, close it down and go, okay, nothing happened today. I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if I've ever said this before here. Not trading is still trading. And I'm gonna put not trading is still trading underline, right? Just because you're not going clickety doesn't mean you're not still trading. And we have a hard time wrapping our brains around it. Just because you're walking around Jericho and nothing is happening in your perspective doesn't mean that you're not still conquering Jericho. Imagine from the perspective of the people on the walls. Day one goes by and they're like, what are they doing? They're walking around. The horn's getting kind of annoying, but they're just walking silently around Jericho. Day 5 rolls around and it gets to be a little creepy. There they are again. Why are they doing this? What's about to happen? Because they don't know that there's a 7-day plan. They just know that every day it's a little weirder and weirder. So the conquering of Jericho was still happening as you're walking around. Your trading is still happening as you're doing nothing from your perspective. So let me just say that faith takes endurance. Paul says, let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Let us trade with endurance the trade plan that is set before us. And that is one of the hard, not trading is still trading. Absolutely. That is one of the hardest things to do. Maybe it's just me. But it seems like maybe it's social media, maybe whatever it is, maybe it's just the personality type, that for someone who's a planner and a doer, just sitting there and watching nothing happen is worse than losing money. But guys, I just want to encourage you, not trading is still trading. Following your trade plan is worth it. Imagine if they had tried to, people like me had tried to attack Jericho against God's wishes. It was a walled city, big old thick walls, right? Rahab's house was inside the wall, big old thick walls. Back then, it was an interior wall, an exterior wall, and a whole bunch of rubble in between. So imagine the pain and hardship and the death that would have happened if they had not followed God's plan. Imagine your trade account, the carnage that will happen if you trade contrary to the plan that you spent so much time developing. So I want to encourage all of you out there, much like those poor fools like me who walked around, I say fools, those poor OCD people who walked around Jericho desperate to be doing something. Just because nothing's happening that day doesn't mean you're not doing it. So follow your trade plan. Have faith in your plan. Have constant, enduring, patient faith in your trade plan. And the walls of Jericho will come tumbling down or up, depending on your point of view and your trade account. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you all for being here. Don't forget, we've got where is it at here? We've got the free trading group you can be a member of on Facebook. I encourage everyone out there. There it is right there. Everyone out there, just go to Facebook and search us in groups for Godly Trading. You'll find us. It is open to anybody, absolutely anybody. We are there. We have weekly group check-ins. On Sunday evenings, we have a group session where we talk about how our trading was going for the week. A lot of stuff is happening inside there. It's free. Anyone can join. So I would encourage all of you out there to check that out. And with that, guys, I will see you all tomorrow.